Hey, and welcome everybody. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust, the podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Today, it's midweek, folks, and we're actually on again. Can you believe that? We're actually able to get the show up and running again. Hopefully, all of you are doing well. Before we get going too much further, I would encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's like over here someplace. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel. We're going to talk about some interesting things today, you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Minneapolis or Minnesota. We're going to talk about some things that are going on in Venezuela. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what the president is doing, because he's always up to something. You guys stick around. We'll be back in just a second for more of In God We Still Trust. I'll be back in just a second, folks. Hang on. All right, we are back, folks. This has been crazy, guys. These last couple of days have probably been more packed with stuff than you could shake a stick at. I mean, it really has been. Many of you know that just over the weekend, Nicolas Maduro, he was captured by American forces in Caracas, Venezuela, and really they hadn't even turned the chapter on this guy until something else happened. Well, let's slow down for a second. Nicolas Maduro, as many of you know, was the dictator. He's a dictator in Venezuela, and when he went his merry way, basically what happened is Maduro decided that he wanted to sell drugs everywhere. President Trump said, he goes, we're done with the whole drug thing, and warned him. He said, if you don't stop selling drugs, we're going to have a real problem with this. Maduro said, I don't care. And so the president sent out not the 82nd, but the Rangers and special forces, that kind of stuff, and they captured this guy. He had been waiting. Excuse me. He had been indicted already. Was already wanted. There was a $50 million bounty on his head. And so it wasn't as though nobody knew what was going on with this guy, but he kept doing his thing. And so they captured him, and the president was doing a victory lap, and he was saying a lot of stuff. Basically, hey, we're going to run the country until we get an interim government in there. And one of the things he was talking about was that he was going to control all the oil, and that was when everybody went, wait a minute, what do you mean control all the oil? That's crazy. Well, how are you going to control all the oil that's going on? Well, that's exactly what the president said he's going to do. Many of you know that we've been in Venezuela for 60 years or whatever it's been, well over 60 years. And we are the ones who put in all of their oil lines. We're the ones who put in all of their infrastructure for their heavy, oil refining, all that kind of stuff. And then when they nationalized everything over there, they kicked all of our people out. They kicked out Chevron. They kicked out, all these American companies. And for the last 15, 20 years now, they've been watching this whole infrastructure just kind of dwindle down. And it's not as though they have been shipping out oil, but it's been much lower capacity. Well, here's the thing about it now. Now that we own it, now that we control the whole thing, the president said something very interesting. He said, this is a Breitbart story. It says, U.S. to control Venezuela's oil sales indefinitely. This is good, guys. I love this. The Trump administration will sell Venezuelan oil indefinitely and control the proceeds. Energy Secretary Chris Wright announced Wednesday as a part of the administration's broader strategy to manage Venezuela's oil exports and rebuild its energy sector. This is so cool. This is what the Trump administration, and we're going to talk about this at length here in just, in the after the break here too. The Venezuela was the fourth, I believe this was in, I'm going to say it was in the 60s. Don't quote me on this, guys. But Venezuela was the fourth largest economy a few decades back. Why? Because they sit on the largest proven reserves of oil on the planet. They've got a lot of oil out there. And as a result of that, they were a prosperous democratic country. It wasn't until Chavez got into office and then Maduro got into office that it just went and it tanked. It went from a prosperous nation to where people were eating their dogs and going to the zoos. Reports were that they were taking the animals out of there and eating the animals out of there. It was just impoverished there. And so now that America has kicked Maduro out and has installed an interim government right now, and until they can have their own elections, the Trump administration said, we're going to get that back up and running again. They've been calling in everybody, all the big oil guys that were there before. They called them up and said, hey guys, come back. You don't have to go looking for oil anymore because you know it's there already. You've already mapped out the whole place. You know all of your stuff is there. All you got to do is refurbish it and get it back up and running again. And so these guys everybody's like jumping through their, jumping through hoops to try to get back into Venezuela. This is just so cool. But here's the problem, is that so who is going to control the oil? Well, the Trump administration says we're going to control the oil. And when we come back, you guys, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about just a little bit because I think this is so important that we understand who this affects, why it affects who it affects, and how it's going to affect us as U.S. citizens, okay? So we'll be back in just a second, folks, for a little bit more of this. You're going to love this, okay? This is In God We Still Trust. I'm Sherman Ray. We'll be back in just a second. We're back, folks. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And I know we're still talking about Venezuela, and I know there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. We're gonna get to the whole Minnesota thing too, guys. Don't worry. We are gonna get to the Minnesota because this is you cannot. That's 800-pound gorilla in the coal mine right now. But first things first, I want to let you know that we've got a brand new show and a brand new platform that's up and running right now. It's called America Before Stupid. And America Before Stupid. I'm going to say that very loud. America Before Stupid. And this is so fun. If you ever heard of the Babylon Bee, very much like that. Except for we look at how the woke movement has touched America and how stupid it really is. So satirical look. Satire is really reality put in a way that you can actually look at it and go, that's just stupid. And so I want you to go to that website, America Before Stupid, or you can write Before Stupid. Either way, you'll get there. Articles, and we've got a brand new weekly comic strip, and our staff is just crackerjack staff that's working on this stuff, and it's a cartoon. It's a strip. It's a cartoon strip, satirical, irreverent. It's fun. It's called Mr. and Mrs. A, and for America, Mr. and Mrs. America. And they sit around, they read the paper, and they talk about what's going on in the paper. You're just gonna love it. So, anyways, America Before Stupid. Go there today. So let's talk a little bit more about Hugo Chavez. Or excuse me, not Hugo Chavez. What is it? Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro was arrested just over the weekend. And once again, when he was arrested, as America, we took over their oil industry and now are going to trying to get it back up and running. The president said it's going to take about 18 months to get it back up and running, so we're very excited about that. But here's the thing about it, is that America is saying to Venezuela, they're saying, hey, look, only deal with us. Only deal with us. We will help you get money for your oil because we own it anyways. We own the infrastructure. We have all the leases. That is actually our oil, you guys. Whether people realize it or not, we actually own that oil already. It's been stolen from us over the last 20 years or whatever it's been, and used for drug money and cartel money, that kind of stuff. So we're getting our money back. And guess who we're going to be selling it to? Yeah, everybody. Yeah, we're going to be selling it to everybody. We're going to be selling it to China. Okay, we're going to be selling it to Cuba. We're going to be, and Cuba's having its issues, isn't it? Cuba's having such terrible issues. It's another story. We might get to that story today, but Cuba's having such a bad time right now. The same thing with Iran. Iran is just going crazy. That's, this seems like everybody in the world is having these upheavals, and America's there to be the beacon of light, the steady hand when you need it. And so we hope we can do whatever we can do to help these folks out. So once again, USA is going to control the oil, and so we're very excited about this. So let's talk a little bit about what time we got. Okay, we've got a little bit of time. Okay, good. Let's talk about Iran for just a second. Okay, so Iran has got some protesters out there, and the Iranian protesters. This is we were talking about this before. Iran has ever since time memorial has always had issues, but now they're running out of water. Their currency has it's out of control. As a matter of fact, it's gotten to the point where people, once again, just like it is in Cuba, just like it is in Venezuela, this dictatorship has led these people down a path where they can't feed themselves. And so the people are protesting now. The difference between all these places, though, is that in Iran, it was a religious patriarchy that was basically saying, look, you're not going to go against us, so we're going to make sure that that you stay squashed. And so that's what they've been doing. So, well, now the people are protesting in a big way. Not in a little way, a big way, going to the streets. It's gotten to the point where the Ayatollah, who's up there, is so fearful that these people might just overthrow the government. He's ready to bug out of there. He's packing his turban with as much cash as he can stuff under his skirt, and he's getting ready to leave and go to Moscow. So this story is a Breitbart story, and it says Iranian protesters are reportedly asking President Donald Trump to make good on his pledge to protect them from the murderous regime in Tehran, even as human rights groups report escalations of force by Iranian security forces and growing body count. This is what is going on in Iran. The Iranian military knows that it is a matter of time before these people break through. And as a result of that, they are killing people. They're killing protesters, and they're saying, hey, we don't want, that's the way we're going to squash this. And our president, Donald Trump, says, if you go out and you start killing these people, we are going to go in and we're going to stop you from allowing these people to protest, because these people want freedom. And so the people are saying, make good on it. This is one of those times when people, nobody wants America to be the world's police until they need us, right? Until they need us, and then all of a sudden, America come to our rescue. And so we're excited about what's going on in Iran, because Iran does not need to be in control. Or their Ayatollah, this radical Islamist, they don't need to be in control. But we have to be very careful about this because we don't want to get sucked into an endless war. Something that nobody wants that. So, yeah, let's take a real quick break. So let's take a break, folks. When we come back, we're going to start talking about what's going on in Minnesota. This is the 800-pound gorilla that's in the room, folks. You got to stick around for this. You will not believe it. This is Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. I hope you are doing great. We want to encourage you, folks. If you'd like to write to us, you can write to us at any time you want. Just write to us at ingodwestilltrust1@gmail.com. That's ingodwestilltrust1@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what's going on in your life. This is the 800-pound gorilla. Many of you probably heard about this today. This is a breaking story. We probably should have led with this, but there's so much going on. There's so much going on. Many of you know that in Minnesota, ICE agents have been going in there to start going door to door because of the Somali fraud schemes that they've been trying to crack down on. Well, seems like the people have been encouraged to not allow ICE agents to go in there. And in this case, they were met with what we knew was going to happen. We knew that Tim Walz and the Democrats on the left were all basically saying, fight and oppose the ICE agents. And we knew at some point something was going to happen. Well, it did. A woman was shot. This is a heartbreaking story, and this is an AP story. Everybody's got it, and many of you probably already saw the video on this. We're not going to show you the video, folks, because it is just it's too horrific. It really is. But we can say this: ICE agents were confronted by a woman in an SUV, and she had her car in the street. The ICE agents came out of their car and went to confront the woman. ICE agent was on her driver's side, one was on the passenger side, one was in front of the car, and one ICE agent grabbed the door handle and tell the lady, hey, look, come on, get out of the car now, because we're tired of this stuff. The woman backed her car up, and then she hit the gas, and there was an ICE agent in front of her car, and she attempted to run this ICE agent over with her car. And the video is out there, so you can make your mind up for yourself, but I can tell you that I've watched this video probably 20, 30 times now. It's pretty obvious what happened here. The ICE agent pulled out his gun. He shot 3 shots into her windshield, striking the lady. She drove down the street probably 50 yards at the most and wrecked into a car, and the shots killed her. The woman's name was Renee. By reports coming in, her name was Renee Good. Renee Nicole Good. She's a 37-year-old woman. She was identified by her mom hours, after she was killed when she tried to ram the ICE agents. Renee was one of the people say Renee was one of the kindest people I've ever known. Except for when she had a car, when she tried to drive over an ICE agent. This woman was also, evidently, she lived with her girlfriend. So yes, she was one of those folks. She lived with her partner, according to her mom. Video appeared to show her Honda Pilot making contact with an ICE agent. I love how they write this stuff. The Honda Pilot car made contact with an ICE agent, which means she tried to run the guy over, and he opened fire. The president has said this is a justified shooting. all the people that I've seen online right now are, and this is the interesting thing about it, many people have come out and basically said, look, we are trying to hold our judgment on this, except for Tim Walz. Tim Walz came out at a press conference, and also the mayor of Minneapolis both came out and basically said that ICE agents are wrong, that the ICE agents created this whole situation and the chaos and everything else. Here's the people that I hold responsible for this. Here's who we who we believe has blood on their hands. The governor of Minnesota, he has blood on his hands. The mayor of Minneapolis, he has blood on his hands because they set the atmosphere for this. Instead of telling their people, look, we've got ICE agents coming in to take care of a situation that we screwed up, that we did, $9 billion worth of fraud in Minnesota. That's why the ICE agents are there in the first place, because not because they've got nothing better to do at their time, but because since 2018, from what we gather from this, there have been a bunch of Somali fraudsters, not just skimming a little bit of money, industrial scale fraud has been perpetrated upon the American taxpayer. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about some of these other things that are going on here. But Tim Walz, during his 7 years, and now it's going to be 8 years, under his watch, these Somalis who came into our country because of our the goodness of our heart, we allowed them to come in our country. They're not all of them, of course, but a large number of the ones who have been arrested were all Somalian. And so now ICE went in there to start checking all these businesses that are fraudulent businesses, that they suspect to be fraudulent businesses. And Tim Walz and those guys are basically saying, don't let them come in. Oh, don't do, oh, no, you don't need to come here. Well, yes, they do. It's pretty obvious they do. Tim Walz is saying, oh, we'll take care of the whole thing. You've already tried to take care of it. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So now they set the tone for this thing. They keep telling all these people, go on out there. And not only Tim Walz, not only this Fry guy, whoever the mayor of Minneapolis, he's part of this, because he's basically saying, F the ICE. I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with you people? Why don't you go out there, and Tim Walz, and lay down in front of a car? Why don't you, Mr. Fry, go out there and take a bullet? Why is it you always get these poor people who don't know any better to go out there and take a bullet for you guys? So, I said all this to say this. This woman is dead because of Tim Walz. This woman is dead because of the whole atmosphere of this woke movement, of this just ungodly, uncivilized group of people. We're going to talk a little bit more about this too. We're going to prove this to you folks. We want you to know that this is just the tip of the iceberg. They're finding out that this $9 billion, it's going to probably be even deeper than this, folks. Your jaw's going to drop. We'll be back in just a second, folks, with more of In God We Still Trust. Stay tuned. Wow. Yeah, this is craziness. I don't know how people can live like this. You know, our founding fathers, and we're really big on history, and we're big on the founding fathers. And if you've seen any of the posts that we have For in God We Still Trust. We talk about the founding fathers and how they thought this ideal of America should be at. And we should be getting better and better and better every year. Okay? We started out as a country that just basically wanted to spread Christianity, and then we had a hiccup because once we began to write our Constitution, we had a group of men that said, oh, well, we'd like to keep slavery around for a bit. We got over the slavery part, and you'd think we'd be moving towards a greater, more perfect union, but it seems like it's just getting tougher and tougher. And I guess that's the part that drives me crazy, is we should be getting better and better all the time, but we just don't seem to be getting better and better. Matter of fact, we seem to be getting worse and worse all the time. Let's talk a little bit about Governor Tim Walz, and because we've been talking about this whole thing about the whistleblowers who've been sounding the alarm about Tim Walz. They've been sounding the alarm about the fraud that's been running. This didn't just happen with Mr. Shirley, the guy, the independent journalist who went out, a couple of days ago and went to about a dozen Somali daycare centers and found them to be fraudulent, uncovering $100,000 or whatever it was. It didn't just start then. This started years ago. Well, this was a Breitbart story, and it says Minnesota Democrats blocked auditors from tackling avalanche of Somali fraud, blacklisted whistleblowers. And this is what you got to hear this, guy. The Somali-dominated Democrat political machine in Minnesota successfully silenced hundreds of government experts who tracked the huge flow of taxpayer funds through Somali-run businesses, a top Minnesota Republican told a House hearing on Wednesday. Up to 1,000 government auditors, accountants, program managers were silenced by Democrat threats. Minnesota House Representative Marion Rorick told a House hearing. They've been talking about this. It says that the most severe ones was that they would be fired with cause so they couldn't have unemployment insurance, that they would be blacklisted from all state agencies, including Hennepin County, Ramsey County. As you know, those are Democratic run. Many government experts, this is hard to say. Many government experts, non-governmental professionals, and Republicans detected many of the frauds, but their voices were muffled by Democrats who allied with the Somalian political machine in the state. They don't want a fraud unit to do anything. They want a fraud unit only on paper. A Minnesota fraud investigator told a TV station in 2015. In 2023, state employees formed an anonymous group on Twitter to report the fraud to the public. Okay? So this is in 2023. We are over 480 Minnesota state staff serving with pride and commitment to our people and state. We strive for a better Minnesota free of fraud. But guess what? We've been yelling from every rooftop possible about fraud. This was in 2023, and once again, this was an account, an anonymous account that was made up so they could these state officials, these state workers could start talking about the things that are going on wrong. If you understood or listened to the scale of the problem, systemic issues mean that someone in leadership is advising or forcing staff to commit wrongdoing, and these leaders will be named, they said. This is amazing. Once again, folks, it is just the tip of the iceberg. I predict, okay, and it's not just in Minneapolis. It's not just in Minnesota. It is nationwide, and I can guarantee you that this is not just a cottage industry. This is like mafia-like. Okay, this is wholesale, industrial scale stealing from you and I. It's not. This isn't just some. I know people say the numbers are so big you can't get your mind around. This is stealing from you and I. Can you imagine $9 billion from, and that's why they keep telling you, you got to pay your taxes. Pay your taxes so they can give it to these Somali guys. It's not just Somalians. I can almost guarantee you. This is on an industrial scale, and these folks have been yelling about it, and yelling about it. And Tim Walz he's like a pimple. He's right at the tip of this thing. They're going to find out that this is, get this, and we got to end with this, guys. Could this be how the Democrats are funding all of their groups? Could this be how they've been funding and funneling money to all their candidates nationwide, funding the Democratic machine? Okay, if they did, folks, you heard it here first. Okay, you mark my words. This Somalian thing is just getting started, and this poor woman who just got killed, she's just throwaway to these guys. Whatever. They'll yell, they'll scream, but they care less about her. They don't care about you folks, okay? They don't care about you, because if they did, they wouldn't put you in a position like this. All they care about is power. And who are they? The Democrat Party, folks. Mark my words on this, guys. Anyways, this has been Pastor Sherman Ray. For in God we still trust. I will thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast, folks. We're going to try, we've been trying to get our schedule just right, folks. I think we're going to be able to do this on a daily basis, at least 3 or 4 times a week. So stick around, folks. Stay tuned for this, because we will have another great show for you, and you're going to love it. Once again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. We'll probably have this up on GodstreamTV. We can get the website. We've been attacked on GodstreamTV like you wouldn't believe, man. People just don't want you to hear about this stuff. But in any event, be a diehard, be ever vigilant, folks, because God is with us. We win, the devil loses. This has been Pastor Sherman Ray for In God We Still Trust. We'll talk to you later, folks. You have a wonderful day in the Lord. Bye-bye.